What's going on, guys? Tropical Fish Guy here. Today we're going to be talking about how to do water changes the easy way, the quick way, without using buckets, carrying water, filling your bucket full of tank water, carrying the bucket 3 or 4 times, especially if you've got bigger tanks. Or multiple tanks like I do. I've got this tank here, the hospital tank there. Got to do water changes. Sorry about the quick movement, guys. Got to do water changes on all these. And for me to fill the 5-gallon bucket, for all those, I'd have like 10 trips out the back, coming back, carrying all that stuff. No thank you. Okay, so what we're going to do today is we're going to show you how to use the water change system the easy way, right? So what we got here is the Aquarium water change system, which is basically a gravel vacuum and a hose and this little thing, this connector that connects to your faucet or water hose. All this comes together in the kit. And I'll go ahead and put a link in the description below and maybe up here, tropicalfishguide.com/water change kit. How about that? That sounds good. Anyways, I'm going to go ahead and do some water changes on here. So basically what this does is, if you guys don't know how to do water change, I'll put a link up here how to do a water change, but we're going to do a water change on this. So you can basically, okay, this part goes into the tank like that, right? And it goes through the hose. And if the tank is higher than the ground, you can just set this outside or in the tub or wherever this can drain out. But if you want to use the sink, or in my case the bathtub, to do the water changes, then you'll need to set this part up, and I'll show you how to do that, okay? All right, so we're at the sink here. What you want to do, and we've got this system, what you want to do, depending on if you're going to connect this to the water hose, you can connect it to the water hose, but you need to, here's the trick piece right here, right? If you're going to connect it to a sink, you want to remove this part here. And this is the hardest part, is removing this. So I had to go to Home Depot and buy an aerator removal tool because my fingers couldn't unscrew that there. But I'll put a link up here too for this. But this just snaps on there, not snaps on there, but kind of like fits on there like that. And it just simply, it's very easy to unscrew. Look at that. All right. So there's the aerator there. So you want to take this piece here. Now you can attach this a couple of different ways. One way is like this here, and it fits right up in there, and screws on. But if you want, and I'll show you that in a second, but if you wanted to attach this to your water hose, you would, let's see if I can do that. You would unscrew this little piece right there. Oops. There we go. Unscrew that little piece from the top, and the water hose would screw onto there, and then you can use that like that if you wanted to connect this to your water hose. But we're not today, because the water hose is further than the sink. Let's see here. Okay, so we're going to put that back in there. That fits in there like this. This will fit up into the sink in there, like so. So it screws in like this. Okay. There's a, and we'll make it to where you can see it. There's a on-off switch here. There's on, there's off. So we turn it on. You turn that on like this. You turn the faucet on, and the water comes out like this. When we connect the hose to this, the suction from the water will create the vacuum from the fish tank, and I'll show you that. All right, so we've got the hose here. We're going to connect this to this piece right here like I showed you, but there's a way to do it, a special way to do it. Alright, so you take this, you got this piece here. This is very important here. You want to fit the end of this hose onto this here, right, like that. You want to unscrew this like so, right, and then there's two little pieces, right? Okay, unscrew that. Okay, push this piece over the hose. It might take a little wrangling there to do that, but you make sure this hose fits here as tight as you can get it, okay? As tight as you can get it right there, okay? Then you want to take this piece and you put it over the hose, okay? That's what causes it to hold on tight. Then you take this piece and you tighten that on really good. That way the hose doesn't come off, okay? That's good. Then you take this and let's go back into the bathtub and screw it back on. Alright, so now we have this piece. We're just going to screw it onto here. Easy peasy. This part right here turns and screws onto that. No problem there. Excellent. So let's test it out. So that's how the connection is made. Let's test it out, turn it on. If the water is turned on, when it's turned on, you take that, take the end of the hose, and you put that in the aquarium. I'll show you here in a second. But let me show you something else. The way to refill it is to reverse it. So you take this, you close that off, right? And then if you turn it on, the water doesn't go out that, it comes through the hose and out that. So that's how you refill it. How cool is that, huh? That saves quite a bit of pain and hassle from carrying buckets. Alright, so I'm just going to show you here on this tank. I'm going to turn off the filters and then I'm going to do the water change. Okay, so should I turn off these filters? Yes, because actually I'm going to do more of a water change than I would normally leave the filters on if I wanted less of a water change, but there's that filter intake right there and it would stop. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn off the power to the filters. Now one thing I forgot to tell you guys is that this one that I have is the 25-foot long hose. They also do sell one in a 50-foot hose, so that if your water source is further than 25 feet away, I would suggest to get the 50-foot one. But anyways, we're going to go ahead and make sure that this is in the on position, which is up, and we're going to turn the water on and I'm going to start siphoning. Alright, you might hear the water in the background, sorry about that guys, but the water is on. I'm going to put this in here, and as you can see the water is flowing through the hose and the water is draining. So we're going to go ahead and suck down the water, go through the leaves, grab some of the detritus out of there, sorry about that. Going to move some stuff around, there we go. Uh-oh, there's fish. Oop, fish gather. Oop, fish gather. Okay. So, I'm going to go in this area over here. You can see the water is draining into the nice, you can do it outside, bathtub where I'm doing, or any place that you feel like doing. If it feels weird doing it in the bathtub, of course I clean the bathtub out after I do this. But if you feel weird about it, let it drain outside. I'll show you a little bit about how I just sucked up some Java moss, which I didn't want to do, but look at that, there we go, that's the good stuff. Alright, now you don't have to get down deep in your gravel. Some people, if you have a lot of plants like me, I get where I can get, but then I just hold it up like this, let the water drain, Go through each section here, maybe grab part of the gravel where you haven't got yet. But if you have a very heavily planted tank, you just go over the plants like this, right? Try not to suck up any fish. You can set this down on a rock right here where there's no fish and simply let the water drain, okay? No problem. And I'll let that water drain. I'm going to do about a 25% maybe water change, something like that. But this is so easy compared to filling up a bucket, right? This is probably one bucket right here, or two buckets probably here. This is my 29-gallon tank. So 5 gallons here, 5 gallons there, another 5 gallons. If I was doing a 50% water change, that's 3 buckets. That's terrible, right? Come on. So once I get about 25% water change, I'll show you. All right, so when you want to stop, you can either flip this to off and it'll stop sucking. And we're doing more of like a 40 or 50% water change, but I'm gonna go ahead and turn the water off from the sink. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and scrape this down, not scrape it, scrub it down a little bit. While I'm doing the water change, you can change your filters and stuff. I'm not going to do that today. I'm just showing you guys kind of the concept of the water change system, how easy it is. And I'm not really even gonna, I'm just gonna scrub the front, and the side, and the side here. Yeah. Okay. And I could put another sponge intake. I'm not using sponge intakes anymore. I'm using these metal screen filters. I think they look better and they seem to work better. They don't clog as much, but you can take that off and then just unclog it. But for this video, I'm just going to show you that. So I'm going to dechlorinate the tank. I do this a couple of different ways. As I fill up the tank, first what I do, and it's going to condition the water. I use this Prime. It's concentrated. It's cheaper than the other brand. The bottle is more expensive. It's like 15 bucks, but you use like a whole bunch less, right? One capful treats 50 gallons, whereas a capful of some other brands, I think the Analog treats 10 gallons. So this is super concentrated. So what I do, this might not be necessary, but what I do here before I fill up the water is I put a little bit, and I usually do this with 2 hands, but I put about, since this is a 29 gallon, it's a 30 gallon tank, there's 15 gallons in there since I did a 50% water change. So about, in each of these threads, you'll see these threads, they're about 1 milliliter. So I'm gonna do, let's just call it half a cap. But if you had a 10 gallon tank, it would be just one of those threads, right? So I mean, just a few drops really. All right, so I'm gonna pour this in here. Now this step might not be necessary, but I do that anyway because I'm starting to fill this back up. And then at the end, I put more dechlorinator in there. So I'm gonna turn the water back on. All right, so I'm gonna reverse this. Oh man, there's my Java moss. I'm gonna keep that. Okay, so I'm gonna reverse this. I'm gonna turn this way, and therefore it will push the water back into the tank. So I put the cover back on, or you can clamp this so that this thing doesn't start flying off when the water gets turned on. But when the water gets turned on and I flip that switch, the water goes back into the tank and refills. No filling buckets, right? Fill buckets to take the water out, fill buckets to put the water back in, no thanks. That's like 6 times filling buckets, so no thanks. Let me turn the water back on. All right, look at that, look how easy that is. So the water's back on. As you can see, it's flowing through here. It's pumping the water back through. Look at that, huh? Is that cool or what? And make sure that the water temperature, you set the water temperature, you know, measure the temperature with your thermometer. I've got a thermometer back there. From the tank water to your sink water. So, you know, you adjust your sink cold or hotter to match the water that's in the tank. So this is at room temperature. I'm letting the water fill. Once I get this filled, I'll be right back. Alright, so as the water's filling up, you don't have to hurry up and run to the sink to turn off the sink. There's a little off switch here on this side where you just flip it off. And I'll do that here once this tank gets filled. And I fill it to the rim, pretty much, I do, but you guys can fill it as high as you want. Once it gets to that black rim, not the top of the rim, but to the bottom of the rim, like right here or so, then I'm going to turn it off. And it's there. Alright, so I flip that switch off, and you can see, no more water running out of it. And now I'm going to turn the water off on the sink. Alright. So the water's filled back up, the filters are back on, the sink water's turned off. I'm going to go clean out the bathtub real quick. Like I said, if you feel weird about doing it in the bathtub, you can do it. Hook it up to your water hose, right? I'm going to do it to that tank and to that tank next, but I showed you on this one, so I guess we don't need to do it. I don't need to show you the same thing over and over again. So really it doesn't take as long as probably, 10 minutes maybe. If I wasn't explaining to you and walking back and forth on how to do it, it'd be a lot faster than what this video is. So hopefully you guys got a little something from this, especially new people who are like, dude, I hate doing water changes because I'm carrying buckets all the time. That sucks, right? So hopefully you got some value from this video. If you did, please give me a like. Comment on how you currently do water changes, what you use. And if it's the bucket method, the Python method, the water change, Aquarium water change method, Python, Aquarium, same thing. Just Python brand is a different brand, but same kind of components and everything. But please subscribe to the channel if you find this giving you value. Put out videos all the time, and hit that bell notification if you want to get those videos. If you want to see some cool t-shirts, go to fishytees.net. I'll leave a link up here, and definitely hit me up on the Instagram at the Tropical Fish Guy, okay? And sign up for the newsletter, tropicalfishguy.com/sign up. I'll put a link up there too. You'll get the newsletter with tips, tricks, videos, the hottest trends, all the good stuff, and fascinating fish facts. You guys don't want to miss that, okay? So thanks a lot for watching. Really appreciate you guys. And as always, happy fish keeping. Peace out.